Speaking of relationships between droids and human, I guess.
And things that don't die.
Exactly. We can segue over to Westworld, which finally came back to TV on Sunday night.
After almost 2 years.
2-year wait. Not for me entirely, because I did not watch it when season 2 was out. We did
not hop on the bandwagon immediately. I remember we started when it first came out. We started season 1, but I think we watched like 3.
Pump the brakes on it because I was like, I can't do Thrones and this right now.
We were I wish we had this podcast when Game of Thrones is out, because we were, and don't worry, we're gonna have
put out some separate.
We'll have content for Game of Thrones, but we were both so.
I could talk for days. I know
crazy invested in it. I'm like reading the back history of like Essos and whatever. We don't need to get into that because we will literally talk for hours about it. But I think we both were just like, all our brain power was going towards Game of Thrones, and we watched like 3 episodes of Westworld, and we were like, we cannot get into another world like this right now.
Too much. I have like
my brain can't handle
40% of my brain capacity devoted to how Game of Thrones was going to end. So I totally wasted a lot of time.
We don't have to talk about that either.
But we are up to date now and current, so we're covering it right on schedule.
Yes.
Now, reason why we kind of had to cut Deb's talk out of this, because even one episode is a lot to talk about in Westworld.
Yeah, I mean, if you're listening to this, probably watched Westworld, you know that one episode contains so much information, so much symbolism, just like
gotta rewatch, gotta research, gotta like. There is nobody I know, at least in my network, that has a big enough brain to just pick up on that shit at watching it.
Yeah, well, speaking of, before we get into season 3, I read a lot and heard a lot about people are not super happy about season 2, which
was surprising.
Surprised me. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I think I like season 2 better than season 1.
You were saying that at the time of watching season 2, and I was kind of like, it's never going to be as good as season 1. But as it progressed and evolved, now I'm kind of like 50-50 which one I like more.
Now,
there's certain things where like you're never going to be able to get back, like the first big boom of a show.
Yeah.
Like the reveal of Bernard was catastrophic at the time of season 1.
Like my brain exploded.
But now you're like aware that there are no rules.
Right.
To the point where other stuff doesn't
you start
hit
questioning
you as hard.
like, is this person
right? Like now I think everybody's a host.
I know.
Like after that happened, I'm like, everyone's a host. I don't care. You're a host until proven otherwise.
What I loved so much about season 2, and I think it's what a lot of people didn't like about season 2, because I read a lot about people complaining that it was unnecessarily
too confusing for them.
It's
too confusing for them.
Yeah.
They don't want to put the time in.
Which I didn't find it confusing.
They don't want to put the time in to understand
I love shows or movies where it can be exhausting, but I love when I have to just really focus the entire time. It's like a puzzle. I'm trying to figure out, because season 1, we knew all through season 1, we knew they weren't in a linear timeline. You weren't sure exactly when was happening first, and then whatever, you figure it out.
Yeah, you should have, or else you're totally lost.
Yeah. So in season 2, you figured this was not happening linear.
How do you say that word?
Linearly.
Is that even a word?
I think so. Linearly?
Is it just non-linear?
Maybe it's not a word.
I think it's just non-linear, but I don't know.
No, but it wasn't happening linearly.
These events are not happening one after another.
Anyway, So, the whole time through season 2, you're trying to figure out, when did this happen? When did this happen? I absolutely loved it.
You had to help me out a lot.
Yeah.
I was second guessing my own reality watching fucking season 2, just in a blender the whole time.
Maybe I'm a host.
Maybe you are. Maybe we're all hosts, which is something that is touched on this episode. But anyway,
so
let's get into this episode.
We're big fans. We loved season 1 and season 2.
Yes.
So we're excited for season 3. So let's get into it. This is going to be a lot.
Yep.
So the first episode is called Parce Domine. Is that how we've decided that's how it's said?
To me, yes. Parce Domine.
Okay. Anyway, it's
People
obviously some
saying
kind of Latin because it
Parce Domine. I see people pronouncing on videos and stuff. I don't. Maybe that is right, but I would never, as a grown man, pronounce it like that.
Well, I feel like we both, me especially, should know how to pronounce it because it's from Roman Catholicism, and I went to a Catholic school. So maybe it's something I should have.
Fun fact, I took my CCD classes totally in Spanish.
So maybe you should know it too. But anyway,
But after I left, it went out the door.
It's a Catholic hymn. So they kind of chant it. And it translates, there's like a long version. It translates to, "Spare, O Lord, spare your people. Do not be angry with us forever."
Yep.
Which is pretty cool.
It's very cool.
And so automatically you think all through seasons 1 and 2, we have played with the idea that people are playing God. Or
right. Everyone's
object,
trying to.
Somebody, it's like the humans were playing God to the host. And now is Dolores.
She kind of flipped the script in season 2 on them. She says something in season 2.
Well, in this episode, in the opening scene, when she's talking to Gerald, she says the real gods are here and they are very angry.
Yes.
But I'll come back to this a little later.
The one thing, this picks up approximately 3 months after the events of season 2.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I'll touch on this a little later, but it kind of seems like maybe, is Dolores going to spare human lives because she realizes they're not all pieces of shit? Like all the humans that she's come in contact with are these like rich assholes who treat her like garbage.
Right. Well, that's going to spill into my theory that I want to save for later. But yes, that's how I am interpreting it too.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That she is now our Lord, or the Lord being referred to in this Parce Domine. And it's like, hold up. We're not all those rich scumbags that were raping you. So maybe you should tone down your agenda.
Right. And as we talk about this episode some more, we can talk about what her real agenda could transition to.
Right.
So this, still on the title of this, it's a hymn that sometimes refers to a story in the Hebrew Bible also of Jonah, who is a prophet from Israel, tasked with warning people about the impending punishment from God, which could be a reference to Caleb, this new character that we get introduced to, Aaron Paul's character.
About Parce Domine to like coronavirus, about shattering my world with postponing everything. Like, just chill out, bro. Like, you did your deed. The stock market has come back down to reality. People are not traveling. Climate's doing better. Like, we get it. All right, no, let's get back to where we belong.
Yeah.
Spare me, oh Lord, coronavirus.
Yeah, so that could be maybe foreshadowing Caleb's role in this new season. So opening the season, we get these new white graphics, which we had seen in some previous promotional material. We kind of learn more about it later on in the episode and probably what it's referring to and what it's coming from. But it's these white graphics that, have a sphere in the middle of them and kind of like waves. And it pops up throughout the episode and it shows where an anomaly has happened.
Right.
We're kind of thinking that maybe this anomaly is Dolores and what she's got going on right now. So the first scene, we see Gerald, who's a super rich businessman. We find out that we have seen him before. I don't know if it's the same. I actually don't know if it's the same actor or not, but we find out that he was in season 1, the bachelor party that came to Dolores' house and treated her terrible.
Oh, it's
raped
boys'
her.
night. Let's just rape this robot.
Yeah. So she's pissed. He lives in this smart house, which is bad for him because Dolores can just totally fucking hack it and just takes over his house. Before he goes to sleep, though, he puts this little tab on his tongue.
Right, and I have a big thing about these tabs because they made it a point to show it multiple times.
Yeah,
and also in the previews for the season.
Right, they're apparently limbic sedatives.
Yeah, so you know how the writers, productions of this, they put out like fake websites to explain things.
Mm-hmm.
It's what it is, to be not sciencey geeky because I'm not like that anyway, is it's a mood energy changer.
Right.
So that's why you see the one guy taking it, who you're just referring to, Gerald. I was about to say Geralt. Like Geralt of Rivia.
Gerald. I think they call him Jerry too.
Gerald. He's taking it to tell his brain to go to sleep, but then you also see someone in the club taking it to tell himself to, like basically like snorting a line. Like he's all amped up now, party mode. You can basically put the tab in your mouth, hold it up to the roof of your mouth, and communicate and send shockwaves to your brain of what mood you would like to be in.
Right.
Could you imagine this type of fucking technology? Like, oh, I really don't want to go to work. Let me take my Listerine tab and just fucking suck it up. Or like, I don't feel like going to the gym. Let me pop one of these. Now all of a sudden I'm in an insane mood to get a 2-hour workout in.
Yeah.
We would be so efficient if we had this technology.
Yeah. Just go to sleep whenever I want to go to sleep. Wake up whenever I want to wake up.
My theory with these things are basically the cowboy hat from Westworld.
Could be, yeah.
Where the cowboy hat was being used as a scanner to study and research and create algorithms of what humans were doing in this world. It's just, it's a data mining. It's something to collect your data to some other greater source. So the cowboy hat was feeding Delos, the company, but I think these are replacing that.
It could be.
Because it's immediately wired triggered to your brain, right?
Yeah.
So what
well,
better...
there's also those earpieces too that everybody wears that we find out about too. So I mean, there's tons of technology around that we see that could be helping data mine and control humans.
This is what I mentioned with devs. We're kind of already here with this algorithm thing, studying and manipulating our next move.
Yeah.
We're thinking about the ads that appear on your timeline.
I know.
I mean, Netflix has admitted to using algorithms to decide whether or not they want to continue a show. Look at sports. I mean, what's the point of a manager anymore in baseball when the analytics team, a computer, spits out a lineup for you?
Yeah.
It tells you the optimal pitcher to start, how many pitches he should throw, who should bat on the order based on the opponent and the weather and the time and the city. We're kind of already here with this stuff. So, like...
Not like we're quite here.
No, we're not there. But the whole thing of determinism and our lives kind of already being planned out for us via algorithms, kind of scary, but it's kind of here with certain things in our lives already.
Yeah, it's scary.
Back to your theory, robots are taking over the world.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of my really big theories. Robots are going to take over.
We'll be watching in heaven or hell when that time comes. Like, I fucking knew it.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to say, I told you all. I was right. And everybody looked at me like I was crazy. Or the aliens are going to come. I'm not sure what's... AI is probably going to happen first.
The AI is taking over, but the aliens have been watching this whole time.
They're controlling the AI.
And they come down and say, no, this is our planet.
Oh,
and they go to war.
Here's what it is. The aliens are... Because I don't want to get into this too much. I have a theory that the aliens have already been here.
Oh, me too.
So, here's a theory. The aliens are the scientists that are creating the AI that are going to take over this world.
Well, maybe
they're going to be like, this human species are a piece of shit.
Maybe we already are the AI. That's the thing that's touched on this episode.
That is touched on in this episode. That is a theory I don't have in life.
Okay.
I don't. A lot of people do. A lot of people do. I know. I don't think we're in a simulation. But
we're going to talk about that when it comes up in the plot here. But one thing while it's in my head, talking about theories. So, to me, time travel 100% exists.
Okay.
And this is why. Because I talk to people who are very sciencey about stuff, and they try to tell me I'm an idiot, but then I pose this to them, and they're dumbfounded. You believe in science, you're a big science person, not necessarily like atheist, but you believe in the rules of science that we live by. Time is infinite, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Whether we are on the very beginning, like an ant, or we are an ant in the timeline of where society progresses, or we're far in the future, you have to assume that we do advance enough at some point to harness this type of technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if time is infinite and someone a billion years down the road figured it out, why wouldn't there be people here that have been from that timeline or seen what happened? Perfect example, The Simpsons. Number 2, one that is relevant now, Dean Koontz wrote that freaking book in 1981 that directly cited 2020 having a virus outbreak from Wuhan that would affect your respiratory and a fever.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty freaky.
It exists, time travel.
Well, Stephen Hawking...
They're walking amongst us.
When Stephen Hawking was alive, he hosted a party for time travelers, but didn't advertise for it until afterwards, because if they were a true time traveler, they would have gotten the invitation.
How do I not know about this?
Isn't that crazy?
Did anybody show up?
Nobody showed up. I know. Sad day. Anyway, we can get off of our crazy theories and go back to Westworld. So yeah, these tablets or these tabs that people are eating are created by a company called Insight, which we find out is why Dolores is at this guy Gerald's house. She takes over his house. There's a song played. The song played when he wakes up is from an opera. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the name of the song or the opera. But it's basically, it's about the guy who's singing the song. It's from his perspective, and his character is about to be burned at the stake, which, I don't know, it kind of correlates with Dolores turning on all of the fireplaces, which, God, that house has a shitload of fireplaces. Yeah. But anyway, when he comes out, she puts these glasses on him, which we're not really sure what they are at first, but they alter, I guess, his reality.
Super duper VR glasses.
Yes, yeah, virtual reality glasses, basically. And it shows his past happening in front of him. And, you know, she's just kind of intimidating him, whatever. She forces him to hand over information that he had stolen from Insight when he left the company. Right. And said it's valuable enough to trade for your life. But she doesn't let him off the hook. The glasses show that she's in a different place than she really is. He tries to attack her, and he has the same death as his first wife.
Well, did you mention that what he was signing on for was basically to give her money?
No, she already took his money.
She took his money and then wanted the files on top of that.
Right.
She made.
Yeah, she said, I already took most of your money. Think of it as an investment.
Investment into your some startup, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And she knows everything about this dude because they show how she read his book in the Forge. She read all or just a ton of books.
I don't think she read all.
I don't know if she read all. But in the Forge, which basically had books of everyone who had visited the park, and it's their data, like code. It's what Cambridge Analytical own for this whole Facebook thing.
Their core code.
Their core code. They know everything about you. They can predict anything you will do based on algorithms. And that's when she says, I don't want to hurt you, but I know that you will hurt me.
Yeah.
If I don't.
Yep. Yeah, then he falls in the pool, hits his head, presumably dies. His wife comes out, kind of she had lowered the oxygen levels in the house, so his wife was almost in like a coma. She was sleeping, but she was still alive.
Right, just more technology.
Yeah,
hard to understand. She put herself in rock hard sleep.
Dolores did.
Yeah.
So she comes out and asks what doesn't seem that concerned that her husband's bleeding out in the pool. But, which we see that he was abusive to his first wife.
He's abusive.
Yeah. And Dolores, she asked what happened, and Dolores said, "I set you free." And so then I think that's when we come to God. That's all in the first scene, the cold open, and we go to the opening credit, which is different. It's been different each season. This one's pretty significantly different than the other ones. We have in the past, they've had mostly dark backgrounds, and this one's got some of the white that we've seen with the promotional material and the opening to show where they were. There's a big sphere that we see, which caught my eye, that we, like I said, we'll see later on in the episode. That's a reference to just like a bird that starts to disintegrate as it goes to the sun.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of cool visuals in it,
which has always been a big thing about this show.
Yeah. You know? And so then we're introduced to a new character, Caleb, which is played by Aaron Paul.
Yes, the Breaking Bad boy. Do you know he started on Price is Right?
How do you start on Price is Right? He was just on it?
I know. He kept coming on and was so animated, and eventually got
Are you serious?
in the door for acting. I swear, you gotta look it up. It's crazy.
That's hilarious.
Price is Right.
We see him waking up very similar to the way that we see the host waking up when they're in their loop.
Right.
And some people are taking this as a reference that he could be a host. I think it's
bigger.
I'm taking it as a reference that, yeah, it's bigger. I mean, they've alluded to the fact that humans are also in a loop. You know, they've, back in season 2, I think it was, you know, they talk about the host talk about, oh, you've been saying we're in a loop, but like, you know, reading these files in the Forge, like humans can't change.
Right.
Hosts can change, but humans can't change.
Right. And what I see this episode going, or this season, the show in general going, is we were first in a world where hosts were being controlled by humans, and now it looks like some system is controlling humans. So it's flopped now.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And that's why I think Caleb is something much bigger than just a host.
Yes, I
personally
don't think he's a host. You know, there's also the scene with his mom, and his mom says, "You're not my son," and so that's also making people think that, oh, he's some kind of host, and she knows he's not really her son. But
he's an ex-soldier,
right?
That maybe they're putting soldiers' minds into robots or hosts, and part of having him going to see a shrink and do things like that with his mom is, you know, the fidelity. They're trying to see if you can take human minds and put them in hosts and have them move along, basically.
Well, which is what the Delos Corporation's been trying to do too.
Right.
Yeah, and failing. Speaking of his name, though, Caleb, it is thought to be Hebrew for dog.
Interesting.
I know. Because Dolores means sorrow or pain. And so that's just something I found. Caleb could mean dog. I'm not really sure how that fits in to theories and everything.
That one I haven't thought about hard enough yet.
I know.
But I will come back next week with some crazy thing that some dude on Reddit convinced me.
But it's, you know, if he is human like we are presented, it's kind of nice to have a protagonist that's a human to kind of relate to on a human level.
Right. Like I said, everyone's a host till proven otherwise. After Bernard.
But he seems, you know, like a decent person.
Can we talk about the creepy post-mortem friend earpiece thing that he's using to grieve with?
Right. So we didn't know that it was post-mortem. Yeah, so with all the scenes with Caleb, we hear kind of a narration of his friend Francis. We know that's his name.
Kid Cudi.
Who is played by Kid Cudi. We can get into some of these random ass cameos that I don't know how I feel about.
Neither do I. Even though I love one of them who's in it. It's just
Kid Cudi doesn't bother me too bad. He has a nice voice, and so far that's basically been what his acting is.
Yeah.
And we hear him talking to him, and we don't know much about it. We just know he is avoiding him sometimes when he calls. We hear like a voiceover of him talking to him. Just, we don't know a whole lot about it. We do, we can go ahead and say this now. We find out later on in the episode that Francis died while they were serving in the military.
Mm-hmm.
And this is some kind of
grieving
program
process.
That's, some kind of
totally out of Black Mirror.
Totally out of Black Mirror. This was an episode in Black Mirror.
Yes.
Where there was a program that let you speak to your dead friend, relative, whatever. This
is another thing I'm saying. Like, we kind of have this technology already to recreate actors that have passed.
Yeah.
And holograms and things like that. Like, we're not far away from, your spouse passing away and you getting a memory card with algorithm program things that they would say to you to console you. Like, it's
a completely unhealthy way to deal with death.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's not even that he's reaching out to this program. Like this, have Francis calling him.
Right.
Which is crazy. But he actually unsubscribes.
Right.
Which I think is good.
He says, I need something real. Which, knowing this show, it's not going to be.
Well, he runs into Dolores, so definitely not getting anything real with her. But we also see him using an app called Rico, which is...
total. Like, dude, this is what I'm saying. This fucking show is a video game. This whole show.
Basically a way just to commit crimes and get paid for it.
Yeah, so there is a app that he can open and is like Tinder for crime. Swipe right, swipe left. Like, murder this lady and go and like...
I don't think of murder. I don't know. We didn't see murder.
Nothing like that. It's like
it's like stealing stuff or delivering things.
He chooses like the less what's the word I'm looking for? Like confrontational type jobs to do where he's delivering stuff, retrieving stuff.
Well, he said no personals.
No personals, yes.
Which,
But it's so, what does it say? Like, get paid, motherfuckers.
Yeah, the production department was great with that. If you pause on the screen, it's pretty funny. So go back and watch that and look at his phone screen.
Could you imagine? Like, I don't even know how something like that could go on.
So
they're like stimulating, like they're stimulating crime. Which you know what? Maybe it's not a bad idea to get people to only do certain acts. Might give away their urge to do more heinous things.
No.
It's
that's
literally
your Sith coming out.
That's my Sith. It's literally Grand Theft Auto though. The fucking game, you pick up missions on your cell phone. I was watching it. And you said something, right? That the writers, Nolan was inspired by video games?
Jonathan Nolan was inspired by BioShock, Red Dead Redemption.
Which is what I said every episode watching.
Skyrim, I think.
Skyrim, phenomenal games. All of them.
But that was more, I think, more for the original, Western-y.
Yeah.
The way that they...
I mean, how many times did I say to you watching season 1, like, damn, I want to play Red Dead right now.
So
Man in Black's totally inspired. That would be me.
Well, I think he's also a reference, though, to the original movie, Westworld.
Oh, yeah. It is, yeah.
So when Caleb's first job with Rico that we see, he meets up with Ash and Giggles, who is
Beast
Ash
mode.
Jesus. Ash is Lena Waithe,
who's in Ready Player One, a movie about video games. She's phenomenal in it.
Mm-hmm. She's also in Master of None.
Oh, she is.
Yeah.
Oh man, I forgot all about that show. Watched that so fast.
Great show.
Yeah.
And Marshawn Lynch.
Marshawn Lynch, my boy, beast mode.
I mean, great football player, but why am I seeing him in Westworld?
I have to admit, not a fan of these cameos, and I know there's a lot more coming this season, and I don't like it for the same reason of Game of Thrones. When you start incorporating pop culture into a sci-fi thriller, it takes away those aspects. And it's not something that like the writers or creators are doing wrong. It's like our human reaction. Like,
yeah.
I'm watching Westworld, all these characters I don't know, I'm divulged in their stories, and in comes walking a Hall of Fame running back from the NFL. Then you're kind of like what? Like,
yeah, it just kind of throws you off because even you were like, oh my God, that's Marshawn Lynch. What? And you kind of like
Air Jordan AJ1s and like dressing like he would in today's world. Meanwhile, there's self-driving flying helicopters and motorcycles. It doesn't fit.
Yeah.
And I do like the t-shirt he had on. Did you notice that?
Yeah, you pointed it out. What did it say?
He had a mood t-shirt that had a bunch of different moods listed on it, like bored, angry, sad, and it was changing with his mood.
Oh.
So right before the ATM blew up, it was like bored. And then when that naked dude punched him in the face, it was like mad. Like it changed which one it was highlighting.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean,
it's funny for him because if you don't know about football or Marshawn Lynch, like he's the one athlete who doesn't respond in press conferences. He's like known for that, where he sits up and doesn't speak. And that's why I thought it was kind of funny to have that shirt where he wouldn't speak again in the show. Instead, this shirt would just mimic his mood.
He does say a few things, but yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this. I'm not going to be pissed at the show for it. I mean,
the punch looks so fake too. I don't know why.
Yeah, you had a problem with him, the action scene of Marshawn punching
so
this
obviously
person.
Acted out and did not fit like the action scenes that we see in this.
He's not an actor.
I know, but like, and the way it was carved up, slow-mo, like punch, like I could visibly see that he didn't hit him in the face. I don't know. It's like I said, start bringing in pop culture into a sci-fi world like this. Our natural human reaction is to be turned off because I turn on Westworld to be away from those type of things, you know?
Right.
So
and we're assuming that this is, we think, LA.
It is LA at the time.
Yeah.
Where they are.
Caleb's in LA.
Yeah.
And it's also worth noting that we get a year, which I also don't love. So we're in the year 2058.
Come on, they gotta be a little bit more realistic with that.
That's what I think. I think that's way too soon. I mean,
that's way too soon.
I hope I'm still alive then.
I don't know. Maybe not. Think about
I
20,
think
30 years ago, people weren't expecting iPhones and PCs to be what they are today.
They weren't, but
everything grows exponentially.
It does. I'm personally, any kind of sci-fi show that I'm watching that's set in the future, I don't love when they give me a year. Like, I loved the first 2 seasons. We had no fucking clue what year it was. I like that because, there's been...
Now I have an expectation for 2058.
Well, and there's been plenty of shows that have...
I want a self-driving helicopter.
Right. There's been plenty of movies and shows that have happened in the past that show these crazy technological advances. And now that we're past that year that they said, we're not there. Like, it's not how the world is. And
we're supposed to be having hoverboards and shit by now, but we have the fucking things on wheels that cause 1 million people to break their arms and shit.
Yeah. That's just me being super picky. I can be very detail oriented with things.
The year thing.
Well, I think it might have been in the promotional material. I don't know if it was shown like during the episode. Yeah. But yeah, it is 2058.
I don't hate it as much.
I know some people were happy to get a year. I think it's really just personal preference. I personally would rather it.
What's funny is this season reminds me a lot of Cyberpunk, the video game.
Yeah.
Coming out, and it's Cyberpunk 2077. Maybe we're not that far off. Maybe these time travelers are the ones writing these stories, so they know.
Okay. I mean, Jonathan Nolan and Christopher Nolan might be time travelers.
They very well could be.
Yeah, they could be. So, moving on from Caleb for a little bit, we see Charlotte Hale, who has...
very interested in her storyline now.
Right. Charlotte Hale, a.k.a. a host, Conscience, whoever it may be. All we know is that she left Westworld Island
As
Dolores, with Dolores in her. And then Dolores remade her body, and she came off the island with 5 pearls.
Okay, I wrote 5 to 6 pearls.
I think there's 5.
But it's 5. Okay.
But we know who some of them are. So we know
they are control units that can hold a mass amount of data.
Yeah, they're the host. We think they're the host.
Right.
So
whose do you think she took?
We know she took Bernard because she made him.
Right.
And then she's made Charlotte. We don't know who's in her.
Who would you guess?
Well, I saw an interesting theory, and I wish I could say I came up with this on my own, but I didn't even think about it, that it's actually Charlotte.
What? Like she was a host the whole time?
No. That...
Oh, they did the thing we were talking about, but putting the human mind...
Dolores took Charlotte's book from the Forge and did kind of what Ford did with Arnold in making Bernard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just Charlotte again.
It's Charlotte, but like a more like...
But a controlled Charlotte.
Yes.
Yeah. Enhance her however you want.
Exactly how Ford did with Arnold and made Bernard. Dolores did with Charlotte.
Okay.
Which is a really cool theory that I really like, that I'm like kind of on board with.
I'm in with that. Yeah. I wasn't even thinking that. I'm like, is it Teddy? Is it like...
It could be Teddy. I also heard that Teddy wasn't...
Because she does take his thing out.
Does she?
Right after Teddy kills himself, because she takes the bullet that hits it off and loads it into the Man in Black's gun.
See, but I thought she was taking... He was holding... Oh, maybe
but that's not the same as a pearl, though, right?
No, the pearls are in there. Those little white things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm assuming his is one of them that she has.
I heard that he didn't... Or I saw somewhere that he didn't get processed or something, but I don't know.
If the Forge is in play, like you're hinting at, it's fucking anyone.
It could be anyone.
And you know what? Later in the episode...
Did she get William?
Maybe. But later in the episode, the other host that we see her bring to the table, that would make sense. Because she's... We'll get there. I don't want to interrupt the Charlotte Hale part.
Right. So we see whoever Charlotte Hale is. She has become interim CEO at Delos because everyone else died.
She's at a board meeting.
She's at a board meeting. I don't know who these new board members are. I mean, they obviously... most of the board was
dead. Was killed.
It was killed, yeah.
I think also, side note, it was reported 113 people died on that. It wasn't like...
I think you're right, and I think that is way less than I thought.
Yeah, it's not as astronomical as you think.
It's not, but it seemed like they were massacring way more. I mean, still, 113 people is a ton of people.
Plus, you see a lot of people getting off on the boat and stuff, so it's not like everyone died that was there.
Yeah, and supposedly, according to Charlotte, it was mostly board members.
Yeah.
Not part guests,
right.
Which we did see that in season 2. They were kind of just like keeping the part guests captive. They weren't really killing them. So the Delos headquarters are in San Francisco, apparently. So this is taking place in a futuristic San Francisco. So she's got her own agenda. She wants to keep Delos private so they can avoid scrutiny and basically do whatever the hell they want.
Right. Continue production.
And she wants to continue production of hosts.
And she has an algorithm.
Which just sounds
sitting
insane.
At the table, agree with her. That validates her choice.
Yeah, but I think apparently it's somebody's missing.
Okay, so here's one question I have. That missing chair next to her.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one guy at the board says, it's not your final decision until he has something to say.
Right.
Is that William that's supposed to be sitting there?
I don't know.
The Man in the Black?
I don't know.
Or is it Bernard?
No, I don't think it's Bernard.
Okay.
I would guess if it's somebody we know, it's probably William.
So, okay, that's what I thought. Who I thought it was William.
I mean, he does own the Delos company.
Yeah. So interim CEO. I'm thinking they're waiting to see if he comes back or not.
Right. And then we find out that Charlotte explains, because when they're questioning her, like, holy shit, you want to still produce more hosts? What the fuck? There was just a massacre. That the reason the massacre happened was because of Bernard. He orchestrated the whole thing.
Robots don't kill humans. Humans kill humans.
Humans kill humans. Bernard did it. He's to blame. We can still keep production going. We can still keep the parks running, whatever.
And that kind of answers a question I had too. I guess I just didn't think about it enough. I was going to ask you, why do you think Dolores kept Bernard alive at the end of season 2? If he doesn't agree with anything he says, are they keeping him alive as a distraction so Dolores can keep doing what they're doing while whomever authorities go on a witch hunt for Bernard? But I feel like it's bigger than that.
I think that she brought him back because he's one of the few hosts that had gained consciousness. He reached the center of the maze. You know,
Right.
like he was
She wants their race to survive.
right. And he clearly was a survivor. Like I think he was created by Ford. I don't know. I think that
He wants the same thing.
I think she realized how advanced he was too.
And how they both wanted the same thing.
Yeah.
Maybe just stick them out there. Hopefully one day we circle back and team up because we do want the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, see, we don't know what happened in these 3 months. Because when season 2 ended, she had just created him. She was, kind of doing the interview with him. But now, we see Charlotte blaming him. And then we see him living, we don't really know where he is exactly, but he's on some kind of meat processing plant or something.
Right.
Kind of, it looks like it's in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, a farmer. Going by the alias Armand Delgado.
Now, you know what that play of words is supposed to be?
Yes, it's an anagram for Damaged Arnold.
Yes.
Yeah, of course they.
So cool.
Always, everything has to be an anagram with names. I love it. So yeah, and he seems very Bernard, the Bernard we remember, very meek.
Well, this scene with him bringing him back is like the Westworld shit that I love. Questioning reality.
And he is super concerned. So we see him, he's at his job. We see him go back to this weird like sphere tent thing. And he has some kind of
These sphere shapes is a very recurring theme so far.
He has some kind of remote that he pushes the button and it basically kind of turns him into a robot zombie almost. Like he has no emotion.
The Sith side.
Sith side comes
Jedi
out.
Jedi Sith.
Seriously though, it is. And he uses
Anakin Vader.
It's like his Bernard personality just like wipes out.
All right, so how you can look at it is, the meetings that the humans have where the hosts, where they sit them across the table,
right,
butt ass naked, and ask them questions. He's on both sides of the table.
Exactly.
Of the table.
Yes, he is doing it to himself because he's afraid that somebody's messing with his code. He is just very
paranoid
unwell.
As fuck.
Yeah, he is not well right now.
Has anyone tampered with your code in the past 24 hours? No. Would you lie to me? No. The dumbest question you can ask. If they're lying, they say no.
Yeah. So that's kind of all we see with him right now. Then we see Dolores again, and she has made friends with a guy named Liam Dempsey Jr. And we find out he's the son of the creator of Insight.
Right.
And real quick, Insight has a website, of course.
Yeah, you got to check this stuff out. Super cool.
It's so cool. Delos Destinations also has a website. You can try to book a spot in Westworld. Like you'd want to go there.
Boys' night. We're raping bitches.
The copyright for the website's 2039.
Why?
Yeah, just guess it's kind of an older company.
Oh.
And because we're technically in 2058 right now.
Yeah.
It also has an Instagram account, so you can go check out their Instagram.
Oh, I gotta follow.
Yeah. And it seems to be a global data collection company.
It's like Google.
Yeah, it markets itself as a tool to help people decide how to live their lives.
Right.
Which starts to make sense with Caleb, because he's in this construction job that he absolutely hates. He keeps trying to find different jobs that he can't get. this data collection insight has told him he's supposed to be a construction worker. So we know Dolores has ulterior motives. And we come back. They're in London at this point. She comes back to LA with Liam. They go to, I guess, Insight's headquarters.
Oh, yeah.
And we see this gigantic sphere, which for me was like, okay, this is exactly what was in the opening credits. Looked exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they call it the System, but its real name is Rehoboam.
Yeah, it's tough to say.
Rehoboam. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how to say it. I'm just going to call it the System because I think that's how they refer to it occasionally.
Yeah, that's how most people are.
Yeah, and but what's interesting is the name of it is the name of a biblical king of Israel, and he was the son of Solomon, who was renowned for his wisdom. And there was actually, we find out, an earlier iteration of the System called Solomon.
Right. So
they're playing with this father-son thing because Solomon was created by Liam Dempsey Sr. Now Liam Dempsey Jr. is, we find out later, just a figurehead, though, of this new system. Rehoboam, however you say it, I'm totally saying it wrong. His rule, the actual person, the king of Israel, his rule ended with the kingdom of Israel being weakened and divided.
Mm-hmm.
So, foreshadowing?
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
the System, whether that's the name of it or not, is coming down this season.
Definitely. Okay, Dolores is hanging out with Liam. She's trying to get information from him, as she's actually not being very discreet at all.
Right. And this is what, but before you get into it, the party they were at, this is when the colleague, I don't even think he has a name, you know, he's hitting his blunt or whatever, doing drugs the old-fashioned way, forget these tabs, smoking the Chiba. And he says, what if we are a simulation already?
Yeah.
And Dolores is kind of like,
hell no.
pause, like, no, fuck that. I didn't just do all that to leave a simulation. He's like, think about it.
Yeah.
What perfect way to convince us all than to have a simulation within a simulation. And he starts going on his rant about it.
And she's not buying it all, but yes, it is a theory. We can talk about it a little bit.
I think it's just a play on words. I don't think it's like a man-built simulation like Westworld is, but they are not controlling their own lives.
They're not.
It might as well be called a simulation.
Right.
You have no free will.
Exactly. Yeah. So, okay, there's a scene where Dolores actually follows Liam, and she uses some, I don't know if it's her glasses, right? That zoom in, and she can hear this meeting with this person, this woman. So Dolores is trying to get information out of Liam, and he tells her that he doesn't know anything about the system, that his father's co-worker that, you know, co-created this system with him is who basically has control out of everything and doesn't really let Liam know what's going on. He basically has no idea what the hell the system's even doing. Right.
Here's Daddy's company.
Mm-hmm.
That's all
Here's
he
Daddy's
fucking
company.
knows.
I'll take the money, and you can just everybody else can run it for me.
Some hot blonde that I don't know is a host. Yeah, that's his life.
Yeah. So she's trying to get the name of this guy, and you know, which makes you think, is this somebody we know? We don't know. Oh.
Yeah, I know. In my head, I was like, Anthony Hopkins, is he back?
It's Ford back.
I know, but I don't know if it's going to be someone we already know, or if it's just going to be the next big chess player.
Right. I think it might just be the next big chess player. I mean, in the trailer for the season, we do see a man talking to Maeve.
Yes.
Wanting to stop Dolores. So could it be this guy? We haven't seen him yet.
Maybe. Possible.
You know, we don't know. But then this guy named Connells, I don't know if he's like a security guy for Dempsey or for Liam.
I'm taking him as a security guy.
Yeah. He comes in, tases Dolores, basically tells Liam, we found out that she is using an alias. She gave us the name and information of a Ukrainian girl who died in a car wreck like so many years ago or whatever.
I don't know who she is, but she ain't fucking her.
She's not who she says she is.
Which to them is mind-blowing. Like, how could they not have tabs on someone?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that should have been a red flag a long time. Like, they should have flagged her a long time ago with the system that they have at their fingertips, you know? So we see Caleb accepting another Rico job. Turns out he's taking something to some men who turn out to work for Connell's. I think it's Connell's. And I mean, I guess I'm under the impression that he was just going to kill Dolores.
Yes, he was providing resources for the hit on her.
Right. They were just like injecting her with, they took her to a random like abandoned area and they were injecting her with this shit that Caleb had provided them.
Right.
But of course they don't know she's a robot, so I'm sure none of that shit even worked on her.
No, they thought she was passed out and she was just listening.
Yeah, she goes full on badass gunslinger, the Dolores that we've seen in the past, kills everybody. Connell's almost gets away. But then she, corners him. This little, the self-driving cars pulls up and Connell's gets out. Yeah. Who looks like Connell's.
Right.
And so Connell's
replaces him.
Yeah, Connell's robot doppelganger kills the human Connell's, and now she's officially kind of infiltrated.
Right. And that's
Insight.
Where you kind of shattered my world. Not shattered, but made me realize that if the Forge is into play, maybe she already had that guy's code and was ready to replace him.
Yeah, because she says you've met me before.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had been to the park.
Yeah. So maybe she is just tapping into the Forge to recreate her own host, and it's not Teddy or any of the other ones that we're used to seeing.
Yeah.
So now it makes even more sense that is what she's doing.
Yeah.
And if that's possible, we're right back where we started in season 1. Everyone's a fucking host until proven otherwise. To me.
Dolores has a little bit more of a shootout with some of these men. Obviously kills them, comes out victorious.
She's wounded, though.
Injured.
She uses the self-driving motorcycle to just totally sideswipe that last guy.
Yeah. And she is in a tunnel. Caleb sees her and asks if she needs help. She kind of falls into his arms, which is similar to when Dolores fell into William's arms originally. Right. So, it kind of another reference to being on loops and, the parallels of human lives and host lives. Also, the graffiti in the tunnel.
Oh, I didn't notice this. What's that?
Looks like the human figure that's the center of the maze.
Really?
Yeah, it's like spray painted at the edge of the tunnel.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now I can reveal my theory, because that's where it ends.
No, it's not.
Well, it's not where it ends, but it appends to it, because like you just said, Dolores runs into Caleb. Now, what did the security guard tell her right before she left? He said, "Don't worry, the system will find you." Right. So then right after that next scene, who finds her? Caleb. And that's why I'm saying I think he's way bigger than a host. He himself could be the system.
I don't know if it's that big. I don't know if he's that big. I do think he's more than a host, and I think he's going to play a bigger role. I think he's human.
You think he's human?
Yeah.
Maybe he was human and the system was implanted in him.
Well, to finish out the episode real quick before we get into like deeper theories, we see Bernard get approached at his job by two men who know who he is. So they threaten him. They threaten to turn him in. He pulls out his little remote, says don't hurt them too badly, hits it, and just like unleashes on them.
Pure Hulk.
Basically kills them, right?
Banner to the Hulk. Yeah. He just fucks them up.
And then he flees and gets on a boat to see an old friend, is what he said. And he asked the guy to take him to Westworld.
Yeah,
it's the island of
location
Westworld.
of Westworld.
Yeah. And that's how the episode ends. And then we have a post-credits scene.
Which you don't like. I don't mind.
If you listen to our last episode, you will know my large distaste of post-credit scenes. I hate them. I just really don't. I don't get them. If you have more to tell us, just tell us at the end of the episode. I just don't understand.
Well, it's basically a preview for what's coming. It's just a teaser.
It's a teaser.
I don't mind it.
I don't like it.
It's just Maeve.
The only reason we saw it was because I thought there might be after the episode, talk with the creators.
Yeah, but we should know by now that there's end credits in Westworld.
Yeah, I know. They've done it before. They've done it several other times. I hate feeling like at the end of a show that I need to fast forward through the credits to make sure I'm not missing anything.
I'm the opposite. I kind of like it.
No,
it's like the French fry at the bottom of your 4-piece chicken nugget at Wendy's that you just like, ooh.
Or the curly fry and the regular French fries.
Yes, it's like, ooh, that's a nice little treat.
No.
I was ready to be done with you, and look at that. We got a little curly fry action.
No, I get way more excited for a curly fry than a post-credit scene.
Depending on the scene, I might too. But
it was a good scene.
I don't mind it at all, especially with a good show or movie, because you're just like, damn, it's over. I got to wait for more. And it's like, but wait, there's more.
I like it. It bothers me less when it's like in the middle of a season. Like it really bothered me with The Outsiders just because this was supposed to be a mini series. And they just, I don't know. I feel like they're just teasing us for the sake of fucking teasing us.
Yeah, that was different.
So, yeah, we get the post-credit scene. We see Maeve wake up, and basically she's in Nazi-controlled Italy.
Yeah, new Westworld. War
World.
Westwar World.
War World. God, that's so hard to say. War World.
Double W. It's not even easy that way. Are we going to see Taika as a host Hitler? Heil Hitler. Heil Hitler. Heil Hitler.
JoJo's gonna come in.
Heil Hitler. Very interesting new take on a new park. To be fucking like, that's got to be the worst time in history ever. To want to pay money to be in.
Some weirdos out there.
The fuck? I can think of a million different timelines that I'd rather be a part of.
Yeah.
For the purpose of the show, it might be good, but if you want to look at an actual business plan standpoint, who the fuck is opening a Nazi Germany world?
Well, apparently it's Italy.
Oh, Italy, like you said.
Yeah, Nazi-controlled Italy.
Still, who, like...
I don't know, dude.
Babe, you got your things packed for vacation? Yeah, we're going to Nazi Italy. Yay! What?
Yeah.
Sounds miserable.
So, it does sound miserable, but... I don't know. I'm interested to see it. I'm glad Maeve's... we figured Maeve was going to be back, but I'm glad to get confirmation that she's back. Well, I mean, we saw it from the trailers too, but anyway. We can get deeper into some questions and theories. I mean, one question right off the bat is this straightforward or is this happening on different timelines like they've done in the past? It seems more straightforward.
I think we're done with the time hopping.
I kind of think we are too, which makes me a little sad because that was something I really loved about previous seasons.
Me
but
too.
I think that's a lot of critique that they got from the previous seasons, and that's maybe why they're kind of pushing back from it a little bit.
This season is just a totally... It's a new show to me.
Well, let's talk about that. Like, how do you feel? First thoughts coming out of this episode.
So, Cowboys and Indians is done. Totally done.
Pretty much, yeah.
Now, I mean, as I was watching the whole episode, I was saying to myself, like, I'm into it, but damn, are we really done with the park? Like, now we're out in the world, our world. We're talking about corporate America nonsense.
Right.
We're talking about revenge and vengeance. We're talking about a new system controlling algorithm thing. So, now I'm not going to say I was disappointed, but halfway through the episode, I was like, damn, like, I'm already missing it. I'm already missing the Wild Wild West. But with the post-credit, it shows that there's still another park out there.
Right. Yes.
And the main thing I love about this show is all the talk about playing God, human creation, or not just human creation, creation itself, and questioning our reality. And things like that. Like, I mean, there were fucking times I was watching season 1, season 2 where I was looking up and around like, am I real? Like,
so have you ever questioned your reality?
I was thinking that was going to be gone while I was watching it. But like I said, nobody, fuck you if you're going to sit here and tell me that you understand everything from just watching the episode, because you don't. And after I research more, that stuff is very well still into play. So I'm not lost, no.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you a bit. It's anytime that any kind of show changes a big aspect of the show that we were familiar with, that we're comfortable with, it's a little jarring and it's a little sad. But to kind of flip that, I would rather miss an aspect of a show than get bored with it.
Absolutely.
Because I definitely don't think they could have done another season in Westworld.
No, I mean,
they couldn't have.
Right after season 1, the way it ended. That was coming to an end.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, season 2 was, I mean, we were still in that
which is why
environment.
I like season 2 a lot. I don't get, because the way season 1 ended, okay, R.I.P. Westworld. But like, now let's explain things in a non-linear way and make you try to figure it out as a viewer.
Yeah.
The opposite of the outsider. Let's make you to try to figure it out.
Yeah.
And whether you get there or not, then we'll explain to you in the finale how it all really went down.
Yeah.
And I thought as watching that was going out the door, but I don't think it is. I think we're very much playing the same game that we were playing in the first 2 seasons.
Just on a bigger scale.
Bigger scale, and aside from the time hopping. Now we're just in a linear thing, which is different. So let's see how they approach it now. You know? It doesn't, I'm not checked out. I'm not
not at all.
The fuck out of it like some people I've seen.
Yeah. Some other questions that are kind of lingering that we haven't already addressed. Is Liam Dempsey's dad anybody that we know? You know, we talked about his partner who created the system. What about his dad who has passed away? They've said he's no longer alive.
I don't know if his father's someone we've already seen, but one thing he mutters to Dolores is that can't give you any more information because the system would have known in my algorithm that one day I would reveal this information, so they would have had me killed, kind of hinting like that's what happened to my father.
Right.
They knew he was eventually going to give up some details, had him clipped.
Right. So this system is theoretically predicting human behavior. You know, to kind of get into that a little deeper.
But it's not, I don't think it's weird because predicting or manipulating.
Right.
It's
supposedly it's predicting.
Yeah, supposedly it's predicting, but I think it's more of, it's like a funnel thing. Like we're going to put like fucking ads on Instagram. We're going to put so much shit in front of your face, narrow it down, until you inevitably do what you were wired to do.
Right. So there's a theory that seems to be pretty, you know, like this really could be the way it's going. That the main conflict this season will be Dolores realizing that the system is actually controlling humanity on a loop.
Yes.
And much like the humans were controlling the host, her goal will be to bring down the system. Yes. So that, you know, instead of destroying all of humanity, you know, she'll realize humanity's not as awful as she thinks, and that everyone deserves to have free will.
Yeah. Exactly.
And to make their own choices.
He is the Abe Lincoln of this universe. He just wants everyone to be free.
But doesn't
that big sphere thing kind of remind you of iRobot anyway? Like Vicky? The whole scene.
God, I haven't seen that movie in so long. I don't remember it at all.
Will Smith is fighting it.
I don't remember.
Like exactly what I thought about. How do you not remember iRobot? That's like your theory in a movie.
Because I saw, when did that come out? I saw it when I was like in middle school.
Let's fact check that real quick. Probably was like, we were probably like freshmen in high school or something like that.
No, middle school.
Middle school you're banking on?
I'm going to say 2005.
Oh. 2004.
Damn it! Oh man, I almost said 2004.
What? We were in middle school
grade,
then.
yeah.
6th grade? No.
Yeah.
Damn, fuck, we were.
Yeah. 1 year off. Damn it. So
yeah,
close.
so I think anybody who's really into the show, that's what they're taking from it. Like the trajectory of it.
Right.
Is it's going to be her trying to take down the system that
Mm-hmm.
is controlling humanity.
So there's another theory I read. It gets a little wackier. Don't like it as much, but I'll throw it out there that the real world that we're seeing isn't the real world. It's actually another Delos park called Future World. Don't really love that theory because, I mean, we saw Dolores leave the island.
It would have been so obvious with the guy dropping the simulation within a simulation line. It's way too given away for Westworld. There's no way.
Right. And then
There's no way.
to kind of go a little deeper with that theory that I actually don't hate when it goes a little deeper, that Future World is actually, you know, a park or zoo type place that was actually built by an advanced AI system, and all of humanity is trapped in it without its knowledge. And like the actual real future is some like wasteland that AI, I mean, humans basically don't exist outside of it. Which is kind of the simulation.
Yeah.
Are we in a simulation theory?
Another way, but bigger. That would be better than just Future World.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like,
yeah, you have to
Disney's
kind of go a
new
little
roller
deeper.
Coaster. Like that's
Yeah.
fucking terrible.
You have to go a little deeper than that. I would not like if it was just some other future world, but
And I just found it in my notes again, back to what Liam said to Dolores. I knew I had it here somewhere, but the quote is, "If I was going to tell you, the system would already know, and he'd already be dead, just like my dad. No one knows what the system is doing other than the original architect." So what you're saying, the original architect could be an AI itself.
could be. It could all be a simulation.
Could. Now, back to my other theory with Caleb being the system. Maybe it's not as straightforward as that. Maybe he is the Dolores of the real world.
Yeah.
Where he is
Right.
the one human
Yes.
that is kind of going against the standard, like, I'm not going to let this fucking system control me
And
anymore.
he is. We
And he
see him
breaks
kind
through.
of doing that already.
So maybe it's that straight
Yeah.
line. Maybe he's just the Dolores of the real world.
Right.
Where she's going to fight, or he's going to fight against the standard.
Yeah.
He's regained his consciousness back
Yeah.
compared
I mean, you
to...
could definitely say that the humans have lost their consciousness.
Absolutely. So I am not turned off at all by this. I'm a little upset just because I fucking love the Westworld setting,
I know.
environment,
I know.
and that whole... I just love that time, and to be
Me
able
too.
to
I
visit
love
a park,
westerns.
to be able to visit a park like that.
Yeah.
Because back then, you know, it's you and your handgun. It's very simple. Now we're talking like there's self-driving motorcycles, flying helicopter, like self-flying helicopters and things like that. Like, it always goes to me that, like, okay, humanity, like, you have no chance as a human of defending yourself with the type of weaponry that we're probably going to run into.
Right.
With old Western, it's like, you know, you get one shot, I get one shot. There's a lot more conversation and things to like happen there. You have to really be smart. Now it's just like,
yeah. And I'm interested to see how the war world is gonna play into it. I mean, from the trailers we've seen, Maeve doesn't stay there for that long.
yeah, they try to salvage the parts, and obviously you see the two nerds picking her up, which we all love Maeve.
Yes.
Any Westworld fan, that's got to be one or two, top three at most favorite characters in the show. She's in your top three.
Yeah, definitely. She's great.
Who is your favorite?
That's hard.
See, I love William, and other podcasts we're listening to and reviews I see.
He's an asshole.
Like people fucking
dumb
hate,
asshole.
people hate him. I'm like, I don't get it. I was I love this dude.
I do like his character, not because he's a likable character. I like the arc that we saw him You know, his character development. We got to see him as a young boy.
Because
he is completely screwed. Not young boy. I mean, he was probably in his 30s. But, I mean, he is totally mind fucked. And then, you know, by the end of season 2, he's questioning whether he's a host. I mean, I loved that storyline.
Right. And he's like the person I attach myself to in the story because, like, I can't fucking compare with a host. I'm not a host, at least knock on wood. I don't think so. I can't compare to these other tech giants and stuff like that. Like, I compare myself to him mostly of just being a player in this game and how I would perceive it.
Well, and I think that's why it's good that we have a human protagonist in this new season. If he is human, he seems more relatable. Because, yeah, like you said, a lot of the characters in the original 2 seasons aren't very relatable.
Right.
Because they're hosts or they're these, like, super smart scientists.
Right. So I'm not like, you know.
Yeah.
It's just different. You pick and choose who you relate to. And that, to me, like, that's who I just got attached to right from the jump. Even before I knew, not even before it was revealed, before I realized that he was William. When he was just the bad guy in the show, I was like, that would be me. All black.
God, it's so concerning. You just like side with all the villains. Like fucking Absolutely. Peter Baelish.
Yes.
Palpatine.
Yes.
And the Man in Black.
Just put them all together in a blender and you got yourself a Bobby Zaragoza.
I'm concerned.
I don't like the good guy stories. They're so boring. He gets the girl. He saves the day. Boo. Fucking. No. I like the bad guy shit.
So I think picking a favorite character is hard because favorite, like most likable, like obviously Maeve. But most interesting and intriguing character, I mean, Dolores. How do you not like her whole storyline is very intriguing.
I would go William, Maeve, Dolores in my 3.
Yeah, I mean, she turns into it not very. I don't like her anymore. Like I can't necessarily say I'm liking
actually, she's
her.
Phenomenal. She has a tough job and she's fucking great.
Yeah, Evan Rachel Wood. Yeah.
Everybody who's played a host. I mean, we don't know. They could all be hosts. Everybody in this is phenomenal. They have to be.
Yeah, I mean, even the guy playing Bernard is
that's why, you know,
phenomenal
like,
too.
Throwing in Marshawn Lynch, Kid Cudi, I know there's other cameos. Just kind of like,
I know.
Just stop.
I know.
Stop.
If you were wondering how this episode did, the viewership was down 57% compared to last season's premiere.
Wow.
But
and there's more people home right now.
There's a few things, though, that could contribute to that. First of all, I think it's a huge mistake to wait 2 years between seasons. And I know the production value on this is phenomenal. It's a beautiful show to watch. It's mind-blowing. But people's attention spans these days are so low. Like, it probably just pissed people off that they had to wait 2 fucking years for a new season. Like that just it shouldn't happen.
Bad. That wasn't the reason why.
Yeah.
It lost people.
Also, that same night was the Democratic debate, which with the state of our country right now, between people being, you know, pissed about politics in general, and with coronavirus, I'm sure that caught a lot more people's attention than watching Westworld.
Yeah, like I don't really read too much into live viewership. It doesn't mean anything to me.
Well, and it still outperformed the other big shows on HBO this year, which is The Outsider. It outperformed by 24%, and Watchmen it outperformed by 13%. So it's still doing great. I think there's a lot of things that contribute to that. I'm excited for this season.
So am I. I'm still in it. I'm still in it. I'm not flaking out. I'm not nitpicking it because there are things that they don't explain in it, sure. But
yeah.
How could you be a fan of anything fiction-wise? You're going to nitpick this, you know what I mean? Just, if you don't have the attention span to pay attention, go fucking watch The Office. Like, don't watch this and then complain about it. Like, you know what it is at this point.
And we love The Office.
Yes, I love The Office. I'm just saying, you literally, it's the most mindless thing.
It is, yes. I put it on when I'm doing work.
Exactly. It's always in the background up here.
Love it.
So, yeah, I'm in it. I'm excited. It's playing the same game, but on a different field.
Yeah.
So, there's going to be a lot of original ideas still here into play.
Mm-hmm.
and we will see.
Yeah.